Good evening. I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster, here with Weather Now Kentucky. And, yes, we do have a possible historic stretch of weather coming up for us here in the Commonwealth, and that is not a stretch of the imagination or an exaggeration. We're going to talk about all of those details tonight with a little bit more focus, obviously, on Wednesday night. But yes, everything that you're hearing is true. Double-digit rainfall, the potential for even significant tornadoes, the potential for significant wind gusts and significant hail once again. I believe between now and Saturday, every single day has a severe risk posted for it. So everything that you are seeing is not hyperbole, it's not exaggeration, and hopefully we avoid the maximal potential. But once again, a very, very valid statement for this week or for this stretch is just historic. So if you wouldn't mind, please tap the share button as you're coming into the broadcast there, as I already see some of you doing. Again, that helps us to spread this information out so people can get updated on what to expect. Again, we want to make sure everyone possible can get these notifications and can get the information that they need that could potentially save some lives this week. So I do thank you for your part in that. And again, sharing the broadcast is the best part that you can do in a situation like this. Again, if you're just not coming into the broadcast, I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster, here with Weather Now Kentucky. And yes, we do have a significant stretch of weather starting tomorrow afternoon. And again, we'll go over timings, we'll go over the newest model data, the newest forecast, kind of tell you where we're at, what we're expecting to see here, so on and so forth. It's a lot, guys. It's a lot. As you can see, I've ditched oh, I forgot to turn my light on back here. 1 second. Come on. Where's my button at? There it is. I forgot to turn my light on so you can see me a little bit better there. As you can see, I've ditched the dress shirts for now. We're going to go with a little bit more of a comfortable look over the next few days. Just getting ridiculous. Just getting ridiculous out here. So once again, we'll give it about 30 more seconds or so. Let folks get in here, get settled in that wants to see this. And again, I hope that you're reaching out to your friends and family and letting them know what's happening. You know, some people are under the perception, and I understand it, are under the perception of just wait and see and not make any actual real preparations. I think this is one you actually need to prepare for. Maybe not even necessarily for tomorrow night, but the rainfall that's coming is just, to put it in perspective, we had that flood event about a month ago, and that flood event, in the most rainfall that we saw in that flood event, I believe was 8 to 9 inches. That might be the minimum for some folks throughout the next 5 to 6 days. So again, just a truly historic stretch. I believe the last time we saw this much rainfall was 1997, and some folks are going to exceed those rainfall amounts. So this is easily a historic stretch of weather that's coming up here for Kentucky, and that's not an exaggeration, not to scare anyone. It is a very true and very valid statement. And I hope that everyone is taking this seriously, because again, I would rather you prepare and not necessarily need it versus not prepare and end up needing it. So with all that said, I want to say thank you again for everyone that's sharing the broadcast. Thank you for doing your part. We appreciate that so much. And again, thank you to everyone that's liking and sharing. All of our new followers and subscribers last few days, thank you guys for all of that support and trusting us throughout this what is turning out to be an insane stretch here. So let's go ahead and go to our main screen here and go over some of these things. I know you guys are going to have a lot of questions, and I will try to answer most of them more toward the end of the broadcast. Please just hear what I have to say for the first 10 to 15 minutes here, and let's go over the general overview of what we have expected here. So first, what we're going to start with is the severe outlooks, and then we're going to get to the rainfall outlooks. And I know everyone's going to hear that and say, we don't care about some rain, but this is not some rain, all right? So I definitely want to touch base on all that. And then we're going to look at the model data and some other things real quickly. But before I get into that, I do want to just point out we did have some more confirmations from the Sunday event. 2 tornadoes in Hardin County, as well as Meade County. 1 in Breckenridge, 1 in Jefferson, and 1 in Spencer. The longest and most significant one was this EF1 tornado up here in Meade, Hardin, and Bullock County that had a 31-mile path and I believe had peak winds of 105 miles per hour. This one also had a 100 mile per hour winds with it as well. I believe the Jefferson one for Faraday was 95. Spencer was 90. Breckenridge, I believe, was 95 as well. I'd have to go double check that. But once again, we do have some more confirmations there from the National Weather Service. Here's a kind of a breakdown of where exactly. Oh, yeah, here's all the wind gusts right here. Oh, look at that. I accidentally nailed that. By the way, I do believe this one right. Where is that? Right here. Yes, 105. Okay. So Again, generally strong tornado, but not anything significant. Significant. Matter of fact, this one was only 6 miles per hour away from being considered a significant tornado, so it was very, very close on Sunday. So that was Sunday. Again, those have been posted to our page if you want to look at those further. That's just kind of a recap from there. I do believe there will be one more confirmation at some point in Pikeville. I haven't seen much communication from the National Weather Service out of Jackson, Kentucky, on this survey over here, so I'm not really exactly sure what they either found or haven't found so far. I'll still try to investigate that for you guys. All right, categorical outlook. Day one, that's today. Nothing going on for us, thank goodness. What they're getting out there in Kansas and Oklahoma, this is a very potent environment if they can bust through the cap out there, but that's a big if. Again, we'll keep monitoring this because this will eventually die down and leave an outflow boundary for our storms Wednesday afternoon. So monitoring what's happening up there in the Midwest is very important for us tonight. So we're going to be busy behind the scenes once again here behind the desk. All right, day two. There is a level 4 out of 5 risk, a moderate risk in red here for Western Kentucky. And I will zoom in so you can see the labels. Also, this is all already on our pages, by the way. Hopefully you've already seen this, but I'm kind of just going over it once more. This will be updated at 2 a.m. this morning. Actually, I think 1 a.m. this morning, Eastern time. And then we'll, of course, put that update out then as well. Right now, as of right now, I don't foresee any big changes. A lot of folks have asked me about these possibly shifting and moving around. I think out of everything I've seen so far, and again, that could change with tonight's data and tomorrow's data and so on and so forth. But as of this moment, I think this is a very well done forecast by the Storm Prediction Center. They have it almost right where I don't know what that audio was, but they have it almost right where I would have put it. I think if things continue to trend up a little bit like they have the last couple of runs, you could argue that this moderate risk may come a little bit closer to I-65 and may even go over I-65. Again, but to me at this point, guys, orange and red both together need to act like they are in that red zone. Again, the colors at this point are just for your guys' pleasurable viewing. I think everyone in the orange and red need to prepare for a high ceiling event. Again, hopefully we avoid the maximum potential, but the maximum potential is a severe tornado outbreak. And again, you guys do not hear me throw that word around a lot. There's going to be someone in here who says I'm just hyping it up and whatever. There's always going to be that person. But for those of you that have followed me for a while, you guys know I don't use that verbiage often. And again, I don't like to use it because it does scare a lot of folks, and that's not my intention. My intention is just to communicate the weather, and sometimes communicating the weather is the worst case scenario. Again, that's my job, is to prep you for the worst and hope that it does not meet that maximum potential. And there is opportunity for this to kind of fall apart a little bit. I still do think no matter how you slice it tomorrow, a significant severe episode is on tap. But hopefully we can do with more hail and damaging winds versus more tornadoes. Either way you slice it, you're still talking about very damaging aspects. So I don't want anyone to bank on anything tonight. For some reason, I've seen some other forecasters, not going to name names, talk about this being a potential bust. Again, you just cannot do that when the ceiling is this high for this event. And I'll show you the model data so you can see it for yourself. But the ceiling is quite high. So everyone in the orange and red zone. And again, I have this very zoomed in aspect of this already posted on our Twitter and Facebook, so you can view that if you like. But I'll go ahead and do that right there. But I know it looks pretty messy. It also cuts off some of Kentucky there. But again, I think everyone in the orange or red needs to prepare for quite the significant day starting tomorrow. And again, we'll go over the model data and give you guys some more timings on that. But that's tomorrow's outlook here. Here is the tornado outlook, and you can see it's quite high for west of I-65 there. Basically, the same spots, unfortunately, that this seems to always be the highest in the zones. And there is a reason for that. A lot of our storms, you guys have heard me explain this several times, come from west to east, so they're always stronger in the west, and also it's much flatter out here, so tornadoes like flat land. They don't like having to go through higher elevations like out in Pikeville, Prestonsburg, Boonville. Now, obviously, you can still get tornadic activity out there, but typically, 9 times out of 10, it either dies down or it does not like that terrain. All right? So that's your tornado outlook. 15% in red, 10% in yellow, 5% in brown, 2% in green. By the way, this hatched area that you're seeing here with all these black dashes, that is the 10% potential for a significant tornado. There is the potential for long-tracked, violent tornadoes tomorrow. I do think that's more secluded to, like, let's say Missouri, far west Kentucky, southwestern Indiana, southern Illinois. Whereas as you get closer to I-65, I think you're talking about still the potential for strong tornadoes, but maybe not as likely as it is up there in western Kentucky. So once again, I think this is a well done forecast so far by the SPC. Let's check the wind outlook real quickly. You can see about 70% of Kentucky is included in a significant wind threat. That hatched area, once again, being a 10% risk of significant wind gusts. Significant wind gusts, I believe, being anything greater than 74 mile per hour, which, by the way, that is hurricane force winds at that point. Which it causes a lot of damage. If you don't know, that's what caused a lot of the damages on Sunday. 30% in red, 15% in yellow, and 5% in brown. You can see the theme here. As you go more east, the threat drops down. There is also a significant hail risk, and significant hail being anything greater than 2 inches in diameter, which is bigger than lime. And there is the potential for up to baseball-sized hail tomorrow, especially out there, once again, in western Kentucky. I think as the storms start tomorrow in that line, I think we'll see a very large hail threat at first. And then our lower level jet really gets going, and then I think that's when we transition to the tornado threat. Again, so it genuinely is an all severe modes hazard for Wednesday night for a lot of folks, generally along I-65 to points west and above, or I'm sorry, north of I-64. But for everyone in the red and yellow zones, once again, making sure that you're on alert is of absolute priority. All right. Let's go ahead and look at day 3 here. This is valid for Thursday. I believe this is for the morning of those storms. This storm system will continue to go and go and go and go all the way through the early morning hours. I know it gave a severe window that did not indicate through the early morning hours, but that was for like the peak window, the peak line. We will still have a residual severe effect almost all the way through almost lunchtime on Thursday. So quite the long window there. So yes, there will be repeated rounds tomorrow. This is not going to be a one line and then we're done type of thing. There will be repeated rounds tomorrow. So just want to make that clear as well. And again, we're going to look at model data here in a couple moments, so you'll see that for yourself. All right, day 4, this is out for Friday. There is a severe risk for Friday as well, 15% in yellow, Lexington. Pretty much the same areas. You're going to see it's the same areas over and over again. Day 5, this is valid for Saturday. Generally the same areas, from Lexington to Bowling Green to Hopkinsville to Murray to Paducah. And then it finally drops off on Sunday. But the problem with that is Sunday there is a lot. The last punch of this storm system, Sunday to Monday, is a absolute banger amount of rainfall. So that's the bad news on that. All right, so those are your severe risks. And again, for Wednesday, that has been posted all over our page. I have not posted Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays just because I just genuinely haven't had enough posts available. I try not to absolutely spam you guys too much. Let's go ahead and look at the excessive, or the excessive rainfall risk. Day 1, again, that's tonight. Nothing really expected. Day 2, again, that's tomorrow, where we could see some flash flooding possible along I-65 to points west, again with repeated rounds of not only rain but heavy thunderstorms. Day 3, this is where we see the high risk start to come out. This is for Thursday evening. Pink out here being 70% chance of flash flooding or flooding overall. Red being a 40% chance, yellow being a 15% chance, and again, green being 5% chance. So once again, very, very heavy amounts of rainfall. Day 4, we also have a risk of excessive rainfall. Not as much. I do believe this is for Friday to Saturday. We will see a slight break. Friday night going into Saturday morning through afternoon, we'll see a slight break, and then on Saturday night going into Sunday morning, it comes right back, and then Sunday all the way through Monday morning, just an atrocious, a truly atrocious amount of rainfall over the next 5 to 6 days in Kentucky. And that's going to lead to flash flood emergencies. It's going to lead to life-threatening flooding. We saw, I believe, 27 lives lost back in February when we had that major flood event ongoing there. And again, the highest amount of rainfall we saw throughout that period was only 8 to 9 inches. We're talking about the potential for up to 12 to 14 inches in some places this time for some folks. So there will be some lives lost for those folks that are not paying attention. So again, please make sure you're preparing for all modes, tornadoes, winds, hail, and floods. All right, let's go ahead and look at the model data here for you real quickly. Let's go ahead and zoom this in. Now, some models have some different looks, but it's generally an overall agreement of what to expect here. All right. So you're going to notice a big difference. Tonight, it's not too bad. They're nice and dry for the most part. Cool temperatures. It's been a little bit breezy all day. Again, not too bad. When you wake up tomorrow morning, it will feel a lot different. This is the dew points. By the time you leave for work tomorrow morning, generally around 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time, dew points already in the mid 60s out there in Paducah. This sets the stage for severe weather later on that night. All right. Advances forward to lunchtime. You can see by lunchtime, the dew points are already in the mid 60s throughout Elizabethtown, Louisville, Lexington, Somerset, and Bowling Green. Again, setting the stage for all that moisture and heat to build up the entire day until it finally has to balance itself out. And the way it balances itself out is through severe weather. All right, advance this forward. You can see that by the time we get to around the rush hour time, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday, absolutely miserable dew points out there, approaching the upper 60s now along the I-65 corridor to points west. So miserable dew points throughout all of tomorrow there. So that kind of sets the stage for what we're going to see Wednesday evening. So advance this forward. You can see throughout tonight, tomorrow morning, not a whole lot of activity. And this is where things get a little bit blurry, all right? So you're going to see it off to your west here in a second. But before that line actually gets to us, there is the potential for some cells to pop up in front of that line. If that happens, we do have a very violent environment. If any supercell or if any cell does root, what I mean by that is does mature, does root, does really get going, it shouldn't have too much of an issue taking advantage of that environment. There is going to be a small cap about 5,000 to 7,000 feet up. But if that cap can erode, and which it should because the dew point is so high, any cell that does form in front of this line has no doubt will be a violent severe thunderstorm. And again, that could produce hail, damaging winds, or strong tornadoes. So the hope is that we avoid that. Again, the hope is that we avoid any cells popping up, because even if we do see cells pop up, it's not going to take down the energy enough for that main line to be weaker. So I know you're going to ask me, George, if we do see rain before the storm arrives, will it help to tame down the storm line, the main line? And it will only if we see a lot of rainfall. I'm telling you guys, the amount of energy that we have available tomorrow, wind-wise and even instability-wise, is so large that a few supercells that pop up in front of the line are not going to make a difference. All right. So the hope is just to avoid them overall, because if we do see those, it's not going to be great. Now the model here does show some cells popping up, but don't actually allow them to root. I'm not sure if I'm 100% buying that, because again, some of the things that we're seeing upper layer wise, several thousand feet up, does support the ability for cells to pop before the main line. It's going to be 50-50, and unfortunately, it's not an answer that we can give tonight. That's going to have to wait until tomorrow. That's just how it goes. All right, advance this forward. This is valid for Wednesday evening. You're going to see it doesn't start as anything super impressive. Remember the other night we had all those dark purples and everything brown and all, like it looked like a Bob Ross painting, full-fledged. It's not going to start super impressive. I think it's going to take a little bit of time to get its act together. And the reason for that is the wind gusts above our heads haven't quite got going at this point yet. But you're going to see here in a few clicks how this thing is going to change when that wind energy picks up. And there it is. By 9 p.m. Eastern Time, a full-on squall line of tremendous proportions, producing all modes of severe weather. There's large hail in this line. There's damaging winds in this line up to 85 mile per hour. There is, and again, it could exceed that, by the way, as well. There's also the chance for significant tornadoes in this line as well. All those purples that you're seeing indicate supercells or very strong severe cells. All the browns that you're seeing there are the model actually trying to pick up on rotation tracks, and seeing that many is very, very, very concerning. Advance this forward to about 11 p.m. Eastern Time. That line now starts to approach I-65 corridor. The timing is going to be quite weird on this one, because when the line first starts, it's going to go slow. And then when the wind speeds pick up a little bit above our heads, that line is going to start ripping. It's going to start going 60, 65 mile per hour. And then at some point between Paducah and Elizabethtown, this line is going to try and slow down and stall out. Where exactly that happens, how long that takes, if that actually happens, is yet to be seen. Again, that's one of those things where unfortunately we have to wait until the day of. Um, again, I'm just mentioning all the possible scenarios here. So advancing forward, this is valid for about midnight. You can see it's still rotating across that entire line throughout Kentucky. And again, this is about where we see the storm stall out, and you'll see that here. And again, it's just hours and hours of potential severe weather. This is not going to be one of those quick hitter, line only lasts 20, 30 minutes for you, and then your severe threat's over. I think there's multiple potential hours here of a severe weather window, even when the storms actually get going. Advances forward to 2 to 3 a.m. You see that line begins to spread out, stall, and then it'll begin to lift north. And again, the model's not going to show it all, but even at even on the back side of this line, and this is why the severe risk is there for Thursday, does try to show a rotating cell, for example, down there towards Somerset. Doesn't mean it's exactly going to happen down there, but it does show the potential there. It does also show that the line never makes it to Pikeville, to Monticello, to Williamsburg, to Harlan, all those folks out there in eastern Kentucky. It never makes it out there because the line starts to stall, and instead of being shaped like this, now it's turning. And that's why the flood risk is so high, because the same areas are going to see this over and over and over and over and over again until it's finally done all the way on Monday. So quite a long period there. I'm going to show you this as well. I don't really love showing this. You guys know this, but since there's a meteorologist somewhere in Kentucky that likes to show this without having any explanation, I want to show you this and explain to you what this is. So this is the updraft helicity chart. This basically shows where storms are trying to rotate. It tries to pick out those paths. Now, rotation does not always indicate tornadoes. It can indicate large hail. It can indicate damaging winds. At the end of the day, rotation does indicate severe weather, but it does not always indicate the worst of the worst there. It does indicate a lot of rotation, basically from Paducah, Kentucky to about Elizabethtown, Louisville, out toward Glasgow to Campbellsville. It does indicate quite a lot of rotation. Again, does not always mean tornadoes, but it does mean severe weather. So this kind of tells you, once again, every box that we look at here is being checked. All right, I want to zoom this out to the regional view here and show you what I mean by that lower level jet. So this is the wind speeds about 5,000 feet above our heads. Okay, you can see right now it's very calm, nothing's happening. All right, out there to the west, it's rocking. As it advances forward, this is about for Wednesday morning here, and you can see a rocking. This is almost maxed out on the bar. I don't know if you can see it. There it is. On the bar down here, the key, it's almost maxed out. So if you have any airplane rides starting Wednesday morning all the way until Monday, probably would not get on those, or else you're going to be throwing up from the amount of what's the word I'm looking for? Turbulence. It's going to be rocking. I mean, this is about 80 to 90 mile per hour. And you'll see that once the storms start to fire out there in Missouri, this is about the time the storms begin to fire that line. It kind of does go down a little bit. It's still very fast. But it does go down a little bit, and this indicates maybe when the line first starts out there in Missouri, Illinois, West Kentucky, that you might see a hail threat at first, as well as damaging winds. Maybe not necessarily tornadic, but a few hours after it dies down, it picks back up here, as you can see, and immediately that tornado threat comes back. That very high damaging wind threat comes back. That very high large hail threat comes back. And it only kicks up as it heads into central Kentucky, off toward southern Indiana and Ohio. So absolutely rocking speeds here. I'm not going to go over the other models because the other models are pretty similar to the ARRR model. So I feel like we would kind of just beat a dead horse there. And again, all the timing maps and stuff are on our page. And we have the time boxes there in the top left too. So I feel good about what we did there. There is already a wind advisory out, by the way. We're going to see non-thunderstorm winds. So winds that are not even a part of the thunderstorm tomorrow. They're going to be approaching the 40 to 50, maybe even 60 mile per hour range. Again, this is valid for the afternoon tomorrow. About around lunchtime, we'll start to see those winds begin to kick up. And then before the storms even get here, we're talking about the potential for 40 to 55 mile per hour winds. So we may even see high wind warnings come out tomorrow. Would not surprise me at all. And then, of course, as the storm line gets closer here toward the late evening time frame, you can see sporadic wind bursts up to 70, 75 mile per hour is showing up here on the model as well. And again, those could be stronger if thunderstorms form, which they will. All right. So again, a very genuine all hazards mode for tomorrow. What I want to show you now is the total precipitation that we're looking at for this event. But actually, before I do that, I just want to show you. So here's Wednesday right here. Lots of rain, lots of rain. Thursday, lots of rain, lots of rain, lots of rain. This is all day Wednesday and Thursday. And then Friday morning, lots of rain in the same spots, by the way, if you notice that. Friday, lots of rain. It finally lifts to the north a little bit. We get a little bit of a break Friday night going into Saturday, but by Saturday lunchtime or so, I expect that rain to begin to start to pick back up. And once again, in the same spots there, and it's just dumping rain all the way through Sunday, and then maybe by Sunday night to Monday morning, it's out of here. And these rainfall totals are very, very concerning. You can see here this model in particular is showing a wide swath of 10 to 13 inches of rainfall. Again, this is quite frankly 14 inches out here. And this has been a pretty consistent model output. This is enough rainfall to make rivers go into flood stages for quite some time. We're talking about maybe even a week or so plus, which puts events like, I know a lot of you folks are going to attend Thunder over Louisville in here, and it puts events like that into question because, of course, that's right there on the river. And again, you're talking about 10 inches of rainfall by Sunday. Ohio River is a very big river, so it takes time to respond to the rain. So you're talking about maybe a 3-day delay, flood stage for the Ohio River, maybe by Wednesday, Thursday, and then lasting into maybe early the following week. It's not great news. It's not great news. That's again, to put that into perspective. For the rainfall event that we saw that led to all that flooding back in February, the maximum rainfall we saw from that event was down there in southwest Kentucky, and it was 9 inches. So just to put that in, just to put into perspective, what we're looking at. And again, that's one model. So I want to show you the European model, and it's not as aggressive with the rainfall. And hopefully, this is the result. And it still has 5 to 7 inches, which is still an incredible amount of rainfall. But luckily, it's not as aggressive. Here's the Icon model for rainfall. It shows kind of an in-between mix of the European and the GFS model, where it's in between the two there, of a roughly a range of 6 to 10 inches from Lexington to Paducah. But overall, just an incredible amount of rainfall on the way. Hopefully, we fall on the lower end of the ranges for everybody, but I will still say that no matter how we slice this, a major flood event is on tap, as well as flash flood emergencies, and both of those can be very life-threatening. We saw that back in February when we lost, I think it was 27 people or something like that, to deaths due to flooding. Again, it's not a good scenario to be in, for sure. It's not a good scenario to be in. So that's where we're at on model data. That's where we're at on the outlooks there. I will get to some of your questions here in just a moment. But of course, as you guys know, we have sponsors here that allow us to be here for you guys 24/7. This ad row here only takes 70 seconds. So stick around. I'll answer some of your questions. FBI Buildings has over a half a century of experience in renovating, remodeling, and rebuilding any residential and commercial building. They also can give your pole barns new life. If any disaster does hit, be sure to go to FBIbuildings.com for a free quote. Digital Solutions in Radcliffe, Kentucky is a family-owned tech shop. Be sure to repair or purchase any device from them and keep the business local. Thank you to Kayla and her team for supporting W&K. It's a good idea after this harsh winter to make sure your roofs are ready to go for the springtime storms. If you're in or around Hardin County, make sure you check out Hyper Roofing at the link on your screen. And that link, by the way, will also be in the description below. I could list all of their accolades, but just know if I trust them and recommend them to you, that my word is good. Get ahead of the storms by making sure your home is ready for them. Right Implement has over 15 locations throughout all of Kentucky and making it convenient for you to go shop with them. They're our longest standing sponsor, and we appreciate them so much for their support. They have so many things from outdoor apparel to outdoor vehicles to things to help you on your farm. Right Implement is such a phenomenal company and someone that you really want to support in Kentucky. Thank you so much to Right Implement and to all of our sponsors. We appreciate you. Let's get back into the video. Big thank you to our sponsors once again. They're the reason we're allowed to be here for you guys 24/7. So I hope you guys consider supporting them. Again, without them, there is no W&K. So thank you to our sponsors, truly, all those folks. By the way, thank you to Tina for your $20 donation. I appreciate that. You don't have to do that, but thank you very much for your kindness. So I did see a lot of questions about timing while that ad row was running. Again, here is the latest timing. Again, this is for the main line, the main window. There will be storms. There will be a severe window outside of this. This is the main time frame. Just know it's going to be a very long night, folks. I'm not going to give out very specific timings because genuinely this can start as early as 4 p.m. and go as long as 4 a.m. Okay, so to give a time frame for that, quite frankly, it's just stupid because it's not going to be accurate. This is just my best guess right here on the main, like, peak peak severe windows. Again, there will be storm activity and perhaps even severe weather outside of these windows. This is for the peak, very peak, highest threat of everything. So again, to give very specific windows would quite frankly just be ignorant because I know you guys want those answers, and I would love to give you those answers. But we're talking about severe weather with this large of a margin. Giving you a window that's very tight and very specific and very clean is just not going to be accurate. It's just not. It's just not. And you guys know how I roll. I shoot you guys straight. All right. George, is it recommended to stay in a hotel instead of a trailer? It just depends on where you're at. Obviously, if you're in that red zone, I would recommend not being in a trailer tomorrow. Even if you're in the orange zone, I would recommend not being in a trailer tomorrow. Whatever that plan looks like to overcome that for you is up to you, of course. Since these storms are expected to stall out, will this have any impact on severe potential? No, because we've already built that into the forecast. And this is what we call tomorrow's a little bit different. It's what we call a steady state environment, which means that really, unless you see a egregious amount of rainfall, it's not going to alter the severe environment enough to take down the severe threat. So it means that a steady state environment is exactly what it sounds like. No matter what storms come through, it's going to maintain that severe energy. Yeah, Lisa, we definitely should. Will this be overhyped? I mean, I don't know. That to me, that's not a fair question. All I'm doing is communicating the weather as we see it, as well as what the SPC says. Whatever happens, it was whatever happens. Another nothing burger. They all are. Greg, there was quite literally 5 tornadoes confirmed on Sunday night. What are you talking about? I just want to remind everyone that you and I and everyone in between, we're not the only people in this world. Your house is not the only house in Kentucky. Your town is not the only town in Kentucky. There are 120 counties. Just because you didn't see anything does not mean nothing happened. Again, I'm not trying to be rude, but that's just I think there's sometimes there's people that feel like they're the only people in the world. Conform probably not. I mean, again, as long as it's made out of brick or some sort of concrete, you should be good. Siding usually goes over some sort of concrete or brick, so you should still be good. Will this be a 1997 flood? I cannot project that because again, that's a historical event. I can just tell you that there is the potential for that level of rainfall. Alex asked on YouTube, will it be overcast like it was Sunday, or will it be sunny? Models tend to handle cloud coverage very poorly. I do think we'll see mostly overcast, but there will be some sun peaks. But it won't matter. The sun won't matter very much tomorrow because there's so much of what we call theta E, which is the warming. Even with the clouds available, we're going to be plenty warm, plenty unstable enough tomorrow. I do not see much severe risk for Pikeville, Sasha. Is this looking like 1974? I have seen some people mention that, and the 1974. It's still to this day the most historic tornado outbreak in Kentucky history. It's still to this day. We've had some incredible outbreaks since then, but still to this day, 1974, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinions, is still the worst one to ever occur. So I'm never going to say an event is going to be like 1974, but the stretch of weather in 1974 is very similar to what we're seeing right now. Does not mean the end result is going to be the same. It just means that I think there are some similarities just in the pattern. Can you explain tornado sirens for me? Does a siren confirm one has actively touched ground in your area? No, a siren it only goes off when I'm sorry, my mind just completely blanked out. A siren only goes off when a tornado warning is issued. And again, a tornado warning can be from radar indicated rotation. By the way, I almost forgot to mention, and a lot of your counties are going to have something similar to this as well. But if you're in Hardin County, you can. I very much encourage you to go download this app. And of course, I can't find the website now. Why does it say YouTube? Why did they post a YouTube video? There it is. So this is called Rave, I believe is what it's called. I think that's what he told me. Yeah, Rave. Again, you can download this on your phone. This is a way to get alerts for tornado warnings, county alerts, emergencies, so on and so forth. So if you're in Hardin County, make sure you download this app right here, Hardin County Rave. You can download it on your phone. Joey Scott, the emergency director, reached out and asked me to inform you guys of this because not a lot of people know about this. And this is a great app to download. It's free. And it could save your life. And a lot of other counties do have something similar to this. So make sure you reach out to your emergency management coordinators or Facebook pages. A lot of them have Facebook pages that you can see. You can also Google it as well. Again, a lot of counties have something very similar to this. I know Jefferson County does. I know Meade County does. I believe Grayson and Nelson does have as well. I believe. And again, a lot of counties do. So make sure you reach out and see which specific app it is. Joey just reached out and asked me to promote this, and of course, I absolutely will because this is a great app that could save your life. And once again, this is called Hardin County Rave. I believe that's what it's called. If you did look for that in the app store there, you can find that easily. And it's a great free app, and it's a great free way to know to get alerts for not only weather but other county emergencies that may be going on. So I wanted to point that out real quickly as well. I do want to go back to you guys can look at this again for those that may have missed that. In Ashland, Kentucky, what did we say? No, I don't think Ashland, Kentucky is looking at that same severe risk as everyone else is. Again, you are at a slight risk, but I do think this is one you could probably stay home for. Again, for those of you asking about specific cities, just please look at the map there. If you are in orange or red, make sure you are preparing for severe weather. Even in yellow, but even in the yellow zone, but orange and red in particular, need to prepare for all modes of severe weather tomorrow night, going into Thursday morning, and so on and so forth. Ordered an emergency radio on Amazon with overnight shipping, so I have it tomorrow. That's great. That's great. I'm glad you mentioned that as well. I know a lot of people ask about what weather radio I have. It's this one right here. It's called Midland. Any weather radio is fine as long as it has that NOAA sticker right there. And again, we could point you in the right direction on what station you should be on. Potential to be worse than the storms over the weekend? Absolutely. Again, for those asking about specific locations, I ask you just look at the map there, identify where you're at, and go from there. Again, if you're in the orange and red zone, I would prepare for all modes of severe weather. If you live in a weak structure, make sure you get to one that is a little bit stronger, or find a shelter that's near you, or stay in a cheap hotel, whatever it might be. Getting something that has concrete or brick. Again, that's the mindset of preparing for the worst and hoping that nothing happens. At the worst, you get a night in a hotel with a pool or something. I don't know. Again, prepare for the worst. Hope you don't need to use it or to do it. But again, this is not one that you just want to play it by ear and see what actually happens because nothing ever happens. You know, a lot of people say that, but this is not one of those ones that you want to do that. Again, hopefully the if we're wrong tomorrow, this ends up being a bust. I'll be dancing out in the rain. I don't think it's going to happen, but this is definitely one that you want to prepare for and hope that you don't have to go into anything that has emergencies. Yes, Grim, I'm gonna get those posted probably tomorrow at some point. If you don't have a weather radio, are there some online? Yeah, you can listen to the weather radio online, but the problem with that is once the cell towers and internet towers and electric towers go down, then you're in the same boat as you were before you didn't have a radio. Will this become a 5 out of 5 risk? I don't think so at this point. And again, I don't want anyone to hear that and think that this is not a respectable event. I don't think enough people realize how rare a high 5 out of 5 risk is. Really only happens once, maybe twice a year. Um, can it could, depending upon how the evolution of the storms are tomorrow morning. It definitely does have that ceiling that could produce a 5 out of 5 risk. But it's all going to come down to timing, a couple different things. So I don't think we'll see a 5 out of 5 risk. Again, unless something crazy happens on models overnight. Deanna, I believe it is. Trey, it will actually go east and then southeast and then north. Very, very strange storm system tomorrow. Are we going to have hail? Yes, there is a hail risk in the orange and red zones. Even in the yellow zone too, but it's not as large. I'm sorry, guys. That pizza I came earlier is trying to come back, or that pizza I ate earlier is trying to come back up. When will the new data roll in? The HRR model starts at about 9 o'clock, I think. And then everything else kind of follows suit after that. Will this be like December 21st? Do you mean December 10th by chance? The environment is similar. Again, I cannot ever tell you that the end result's going to be similar. Uh, but again, it's just one of those. It's one of those kind of once a year things here, where it is a high ceiling event for us. Do you see the level 4 shifting? At this point, again, given everything I've seen, I think this map is very well made. Very well made. Hats off to the SBC. Um, can it shift? Yeah, it just depends on what overnight models look like, what tomorrow morning's models look like, so on and so forth. But regardless, I think even the 3 out of 5 zone needs to be paying full attention, just like they're in the red zone. Again, it's just one of those events that I think could carry on, throughout maybe even longer window than what we imagine. Yeah, Karma apartment is safe. Again, anything that has concrete and brick and a real structure to it is going to be fine. Again, you have a chance of a violent tornado ripping everything apart, and then at that point, it doesn't really matter where you're at. But just make sure the lowest point, most interior room. So for an apartment, it would be your bathroom. Um, for most houses, or for some houses that have a basement, it would obviously be the basement. If you don't have a basement in your house, it's your bathroom. And again, a lot of things. One thing that a lot of folks forget is to make sure you have something that covers your head. Do you see the storm weakening? Again, once it gets to about this orange and yellow line, yes, it will weaken. But if you're asking if I think it may downtrend a little bit, I mean, it's on the table. Of course, I'm not going to deny that, but I don't see it happening. Anton, thank you very much. Do I think some areas could see a PDS tornado watch tomorrow? For those of you that don't know, Alex asked if we could see a PDS tornado watch tomorrow. For those of you that don't know, PDS tornado watch is a particularly dangerous situation. Tornado watch. It's one of the biggest ones you can have. It might be the biggest watch you can have. I don't think there's an emergency watch. I think it's possible. I think it's possible. Again, it all depends on how when we get to tomorrow morning and tomorrow early afternoon. It depends on how the environment unfolds and evolves. But it's definitely something that I'm sure is on the table. You need to start a GoFundMe to get a whole house generator. That way, when you lose electric, would you guys donate to that? Would you guys donate to get me a generator so I don't lose power for you guys? Because I mean, I'll start it, but I don't want to do it if it's just a waste of time. Angel with a $5 donation on YouTube says an EF2 and warm funnel both passed 1 mile north of our house. I'm 2 weeks here south of Columbus. I'm 2 weeks here south of Columbus, Indiana. Is there some alley over us right now? Oh, I'm sorry, Angel. I have no idea what you're trying to ask me, my friend. Yes, 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 of course. Heck yeah, absolutely. Okay, I will start it because you're not the only ones that have mentioned that to me. There have been partners that we work with that have mentioned that to me as well. And I do hate losing power when I'm trying to forecast to you guys. Someone just donated $50. Vicky Meredith with a $50 donation. You are absolutely insane. Again, no one has to do that. Thank you guys a lot for your all support. It's insane. Susie with the $5 donation says, thank you for your focusing on the bluegrass state. That's what we do. That's what we do. I love you guys. Are we making a map for what you are thinking? Probably not, because that just gets confusing. We'll probably just roll with the SPC maps and we'll make some timing maps. Okay. I promise after all this has calmed down, I will start some sort of donation or whatever. If you guys want to get a generator so we make sure we don't lose power anymore. I do have a small generator, but it's definitely not enough to do anything. It's really just enough to make sure we don't lose the food in the fridge, and some things that Samuel might need. But no, I don't have a whole house one. But it's been on my mind because the last few times we've gotten severe weather, hey, my power's got knocked out. It's thanks to freaking Hardinsburg and Irvington and Ekron and Brandenburg. Winds roll off the hills over there and they come over here to Radcliffe. They knock my freaking power out. So you can blame them out in Meade and Breckenridge counties. Not sure if you remember the flood of 1997. I don't because I was maybe about 6 months old. I was born in 1997, but I did study and I know what it is. And yes, this could be something similar. Hey George, we own a construction business. Find one from Lowe's and we can see about getting you our price, save money. Okay, Karen, thank you very much. Make sure you message me about that so I can not lose your info. Thank you. You get Starlink. If you lose power, then the Ethernet hubs go down too. We run Starlink off the generator too. That's not a bad idea, Charlie. Samuel and Bree are doing great. Samuel's been in a great mood this past week. I think he likes storms. Bree's been going through the first trimester problems. You know, guys, some of you women that have had babies that know how that goes. Lots of throwing up, lots of tired days, but she's a trooper. She's a trooper. How safe is a two-story condo? Again, anything that has like concrete or brick as a foundation is a decent bet. Do you think we'll see a potential for EF3 to EF5? I can say the potential is there. Or maybe EF2 to EF4. Again, I would never project potential for EF5 because I don't know what it is. Because we definitely had at least 5 or 6 tornadoes in the last decade that have more than qualified for EF5, but for some reason they never get rated that way. So for that reason, I never project EF5s anymore. I don't project tornado strength at all anyway. But I do think the potential is there for strong, perhaps even significant tornadoes tomorrow, especially for that red zone. Marlon with the $10 donation says, "Get this man his generator. He's a must follow for weather information." Marlon, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Over on YouTube, they ask, any storms before the main line? If that happens, will they be bad? There is the chance for storms to pop up in front of the main line, and yes, if they do, they could be severe and perhaps tornadic. But that's a big if at this point. We'll let you guys know that tomorrow morning. I saw that, Lisa. I asked her to message me. Yes, there's a timeline map on our page on Twitter and Facebook if you guys did not get to see that. What did you say about Meade and Brett counties? The fact that you guys have those big hills over there and all the hills roll off or all the winds roll off the hills and smack my power out in Radcliffe every time, so I'm mad at you guys. Again, timing maps are on our pages, guys. Amber, thank you for your $5 donation. I appreciate that. Here it is, by the way, as well. Again, if you don't know where you're at on the map by now, I very much encourage you to figure out where you're at on the map so that way when we pull up these maps, you guys can understand them very easily. Again, that's not a slight at anybody, but there is, for some reason, a lot of people that don't know where they're at on the map, and it's very easy to know. So, again, you can go to your smartphone, which most people have, open up your maps, right? Like for me, I want to show this without showing you guys exactly where I live. Right there. I have a blue dot. That's me. So I'm Radcliffe, for example. I know that Radcliffe is so small that it's not going to show up on a lot of maps, but Elizabethtown does. And I know Elizabethtown is barely to my south. So I would look at Elizabethtown, see the timing for Elizabethtown, 8 p.m. to 2 a.m., and I would know that's probably 9 times out of 10 going to be the same for my little small town as well. So I encourage you guys to do that as well. It's going to make you guys understand these maps a lot better. Just come back to TikTok. TikTok is a wild place. Now, don't get me wrong. I enjoy watching TikTok. Okay, but actually streaming on TikTok is there's a lot of brain rot over there. Put it that way. Benoni, there probably is, but I haven't done that. Again, the easiest way is to see it on either our X account, or aka Twitter, or Facebook, and you can just search Weather Now Dash Kentucky on both of those to see everything. And again, I love me some TikTok. I do. I could watch racing videos, sports videos, and cleaning videos all day. I love those cleaning videos; they're so satisfying. But actually, doing live broadcasts on TikTok is a whole different level of brain rot. Yeah, it's everywhere, Renji, but TikTok and Twitter are a whole different level. All right, I think that's going to about do it for us here on this broadcast because I want to get some new data that's going to start rolling in now, I believe, or here very shortly. And I just want to make sure I'm going over all that. And of course, I will post updates throughout tonight, throughout tomorrow morning, throughout tomorrow afternoon. We'll be live throughout the whole event as well. So you guys are going to know the latest whenever or as fast as we can get it to you guys on all the updates. But for this broadcast, I think we've exhausted everything there. All the maps, everything that we've shown on this broadcast is already on our Twitter and Facebook, so you can go back and view those. Also, this video will be on our Facebook and Twitter, or our Facebook and YouTube, for you to go back and watch over again if you like, if you just happen to come in here late. So again, all this information is out there. That's correct, Alex, by the way. So thank you guys again. I appreciate all of your donations, all of your guys' shares, all the new followers, subscribers. Don't forget to turn on notifications so but you know when we go live in the future. I appreciate you guys. I believe there's 70% of the viewers right now on YouTube that's not subscribed, so make sure you guys get that done so you guys can know when we go live. All right. So that said, I'll be back with you guys tomorrow. Until then, I'll post several updates on our Facebook and Twitter. I appreciate you guys a lot. I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. Until next time, stay safe, friends. April, thank you for your $10 donation. I appreciate that. Sydney, it's called Rave. Hardin County Rave.